Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're digging into the 2026 Indian Premier League. But you know what? We aren't kicking things off by talking about massive sixes or those unbelievable diving catches. Instead, we're looking at a season that is very quickly turning into a brutal game of survival of the fittest. Because right now, the biggest story of this year's tournament isn't just about who is actually stepping onto the pitch. It's increasingly about who is stuck sitting in the medical room.
I mean, just look at this staggering number right off the bat. 20. Roughly 20 premier athletes and marquee franchise players were either ruled out entirely or faced really serious fitness issues before this tournament even had a chance to find its rhythm. That is absolutely wild. This isn't just your standard minor bump in the road. This is a full-blown roster-decimating crisis that has completely flipped the script for some of the biggest franchises.
Okay, let's dive into this. We're going to map out this perfect injury storm, unpack the whole workload crisis, see exactly which franchises are really feeling the pinch, look at the frantic scramble for replacements, and finally, figure out who is actually surviving all this chaos. Starting with Section 1, the perfect injury storm. This is a season quite literally defined by medical ledgers. To truly understand what's happening in 2026, you've got to look way past the basic box scores. This brilliantly illustrates the chaos, breaking it down into three very distinct buckets. First, you've got players permanently sidelined for the whole season. Guys like Nathan Ellis, Adam Milne, Jack Edwards, and Harshit Rana. Gone. Then you have the temporarily delayed folks, held back specifically for workload management. And finally, you have this incredibly stressful, doubtful column, filled with players carrying lingering injuries, just nervously waiting on last-minute fitness tests. So what's the root cause here? Why is this happening? Well, it's a perfect storm. We've got a seriously grueling 12-month international schedule bearing down on these athletes. Add to that the massive physical and, frankly, emotional toll of the recently concluded T20 World Cup, and you've got bodies pushed to the absolute breaking point. It's gotten so bad that national cricket boards have actually been forced to step in with unprecedented workload interventions just to protect their star players. Which brings us right into Section 2, the workload crisis, driven in large part by Cricket Australia stepping in. Check out the sheer concentration of talent on pause here. This is the Australian trio crisis: Pat Cummins, Josh Hazlewood, and Mitchell Starc. We are talking about three of the most feared fast bowlers on the planet, all officially marked as delayed for the opening phases of the tournament. Cricket Australia essentially put their foot down with strict workload management protocols to make sure these guys survive the upcoming international calendar. And that had a huge immediate impact on Sunrisers Hyderabad, Royal Challengers Bengaluru, and the Delhi Capitals. And here is the crucial point. International foresight creates an immediate, massive local crisis. National boards are doing exactly what they have to do, right? They're fiercely protecting their premier athletes for the grueling 12 months ahead. But think about it from the IPL franchise's perspective. You just drop millions at the auction table, expecting a global superstar to lead your bowling attack from day one, and suddenly, they can't play. It's a strategic nightmare. All right, Section 3, franchises feeling the pinch. Let's zoom in on the hardest hit rosters in the league. Take the Rajasthan Royals, for example. The contrast between their preseason dreams and their harsh current reality is just wild. They orchestrated this massive trade to build what looked like an elite all-rounder pairing of Sam Curran and Ravindra Jadeja, all backed up by the terrifying pace of Jofra Archer and Adam Milne. But then reality hit, hard. Curran comes down with a groin issue, Milne gets ruled out for the entire season, and all of a sudden they're leaning heavily on Dawson Shanika and an isolated Jofra Archer who's basically having to carry the pace attack single-handedly.
And then you have the Chennai Super Kings. The mid-season analysis from our sources hit the nail on the head by applying Murphy's Law to CSK's season so far. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. For a team that relies so heavily on absolute precision and super-defined roles, the cascading injuries they faced have been nothing short of devastating.
I mean, it's like a domino effect of bad news. Nathan Ellis was brought in to be their death bowling specialist. Boom, out for the season with a hamstring injury. Their legendary leader, MS Dhoni, delayed by a calf strain. Key impact players like Khalil Ahmed and the highly informed Ayush Matre also went down. When you lose your death bowling anchor and your foundational leadership at the exact same time, your early season rhythm just completely shatters.
Sunrisers Hyderabad got hit with a similar double exposure. Jack Edwards is gone for the season with a foot injury. Pat Cummins, literally their captain and marquee signing, missed the opening matches because of his back and workload management. Add Ishan Malinga being doubtful with a shoulder issue, and you've got a total mess. This double blow of losing their key Australian recruits actually forced Ishan Kishan to suddenly step up as interim captain just to navigate the early chaos. Moving to Section 4, Scrambling for Replacements. This is all about triage and tactical adaptations.
Because what do you do when your multi-million-dollar master plans completely evaporate? You go into triage mode. Welcome to the Great Replacement Carousel. Franchises were desperately scrambling for any available international talent to plug these gaping holes. Rajasthan swapped in Sri Lankan captain Dasan Shanaka to cover for Sam Curran. Chennai grabbed Australian left armer Spencer Johnson to replace Nathan Ellis. Sunrisers brought in David Payne for Jack Edwards. It's essentially a frantic, high-stakes game of musical chairs, trying to balance out the overseas player quotas.
And you know what complicates all of this even further? The impact player rule. Because this rule allows teams to effectively play 12 players against 11, versatile all-rounders have suddenly become the most valuable currency in the entire league. When your star all-rounders are sitting in the hospital, teams are forced to scramble tactically. They're trying to literally cobble together the production of one missing superstar by constantly subbing specialized batters and bowlers in and out of the match.
Finally, Section 5. Who survives the chaos? Let's take a look at the actual standings impact.
Let's move to and see how this builds out on the actual points table, because ultimately, potential on paper means absolutely nothing if your players aren't on the field to score the points, right? The contrast here is just stark. You've got the Punjab Kings, who boast a relatively healthy core, sitting incredibly comfortably at 13 points. Meanwhile, the injury-plagued Chennai Super Kings are stuck at 6 points, and the Mumbai Indians, who are dealing with their own major struggles and fitness concerns, are just languishing down at 4 points. The preseason odds have literally been turned completely upside down by these unexpected absences. Traditional heavyweights like the Mumbai Indians and the Kolkata Knight Riders, who, by the way, lost record signing Cameron Green's teammate Harshit Rana for the whole season, are struggling at the very bottom of the table. They are navigating a severe strategic crisis, and their squad depth is being relentlessly tested by the teams that actually manage to keep their core intact.
But on the flip side, the Punjab Kings are absolutely dominating. They've ridden this massive, unbeaten streak all the way to the top. And what's really remarkable is their psychological resilience. They kept up this tactical peak even when they had to survive a brief absence from key fast bowler Lockie Ferguson when he went on paternity leave. They are flat out proving that in this 2026 season, the absolute best ability is simply availability. So all of this leaves us with one final, totally provocative question to think about. Can a patched-up squad actually still win the 2026 IPL title? As we get closer and closer to the playoffs, you really have to wonder if sheer tactical adaptability, smart use of the impact player rule, and these desperate replacement signings can actually overcome a broken roster. Or is the healthiest team just inevitably going to lift the trophy? It is going to be a fascinating narrative to watch unfold. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep your eyes on those